At my son's birthday party, my granddaughter clamped onto my forearm like she'd just seen a ghost. "Grandpa, we have to leave. Right now." I just stared at her. "Why?" I asked. "Please, just go," she whispered, eyes glassy with panic. I trusted her, and that choice spared me from a terrible thing my son had lined up. You wouldn't believe what he was about to pull. Before we go further, tap subscribe and drop a quick comment with where you're listening from. We love hearing from you. Dad, I need you to hear me out this time without jumping in. Jason came bursting through my front door mid-sentence, no knock, just the kind of confidence people try on in the car mirror. It felt practiced, like he'd rehearsed this 3 times in the driveway. I took off my reading glasses and folded the evening paper. The leather chair let out a tired creak as I sat up straighter. "Good evening to you too, son. 40 years dealing with overeager contractors tends to shape your tone. What's so urgent it couldn't survive a proper hello?" He paced toward the bookcase, spun on his heel, hands cutting the air. "This is it, Dad. The one I've been waiting for. A real estate syndicate. Guaranteed returns." I stood and walked to the filing cabinet. Slow, deliberate. His eyes followed my hand as I slid out a manila folder labeled Jason Investments 2019-2025. Guaranteed? I spread the papers across the coffee table. What are we talking, 15%? 20? Dad, this is different. Like the Scottsdale condos were different. I pulled out a slip. $75,000. Gone in 3 months, when the guaranteed rental income turned into a foreclosure notice. His jaw tightened. The posture drained out of him as he recognized the pages. Bank statements, contracts, canceled checks, a clean chronological record of spectacular flops. "You never trust me." His voice carried, bouncing off the hardwood like a thrown wrench. "Every time I try to build something, you tear it down with your negativity." Another folder. The cryptocurrency miners that never showed. 50 grand wired to a stranger with a slick website and nothing behind it. That was different? I kept turning pages. The food truck with a partner who had an embezzlement record. 30,000 to start. 93 days alive. Then, nothing. Jason's face burned. He snatched his jacket off the couch with jerky, angry movements. "You're impossible. This syndicate is real. Real buildings, real investors, real returns. Show me the paperwork. I don't have it with me, but then you don't have my money." The silence between us stretched like a canyon. Outside, evening shadows crawled over the lawn. A dog barked somewhere down Oak Street. Jason's shoulders sagged, then squared back up. "Fine. When this deal makes millions without you, don't come around for a cut." He stomped to the door, heavy steps thudding on old oak. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the windows. Through the glass, I watched him fumble his keys. The confidence gone, the act dropped. The engine revved too loud. Gravel scattered as he backed out too fast, tires chirping at the curb. Red taillights glowed angry in the dusk and swung out of sight. I stayed there, staring at an empty street long after the sound had faded. When the glow finally disappeared at the bend on Oak, I stepped back. My own reflection hovered in the dark window like a tired ghost. The house suddenly felt hollow echoes of raised voices and a slammed door hanging around the room. I drifted to the kitchen, following the same path I've walked for years, over boards that always creak in the same places. Routine helps. Grind the beans, measure the water, listen to the drip, steady the air. 40 years of marriage taught me. Some conversations require a cup afterward, even if you drink it alone. Steam curled off the mug as I returned to my study. The cabinet drawer slid open with a metallic whisper. Folders emerged one by one, each a lesson Jason didn't absorb. Scottsdale first legit-looking prospectus, glossy pages with desert light and camelback views. He was 34 then, still making quick fortune promises to himself in the mirror. The developer vanished with the money before a shovel touched dirt. 75,000 gone. I laid out the crypto paperwork, miners that existed only in YouTube videos, and borrowed warehouse photos. Jason played clip after clip of humming rows and blinking LEDs, swearing he'd found the future. The supplier site looked professional, right up until it vanished overnight, along with 50,000. Then the food truck. I'll confess, at the start, the business plan impressed me. Local ingredients, a spot near the courthouse, a menu focused and tight. I ran the partner's name, embezzlement. He'd ripped off his last employer. Jason called me paranoid. 3 months later, the partner disappeared, with the equipment and the rest of the money. My coffee cooled while I skimmed bank statements, showing little rescues at casinos I never stepped foot in. Rivers, parks, the occasional trip to Atlantic City with Kelly. At first, a few hundreds, 500 here, 1,000 there. The asks grew after they got married. Just until my next commission check, that line showed up like clockwork. Each folder told the same story. Jason's permanent optimism colliding with math. But tonight had a different edge. His anger was sharper, more desperate. He wouldn't look me in the eye when he sold the syndicate. Vague on documents. The same old tells you learn to spot when you've hired subs for a living. I thought about Kelly. Before they were married, Jason's schemes were smaller, less frequent. She pushes the big swings, urges the leap. Her taste for nice things demands expensive answers. On my desk, a photo from simpler times, Jason at 18, cap and gown, pride he'd earned the hard way. When did it shift? When did the idea take hold that success came without sweat? My father built our little home-building outfit with rough hands and stubborn days, 16 hours at a time. I learned by lugging tools, mixing concrete, figuring out materials from the ground up. Jason wants boardroom wins without basement lessons. The lamp threw warm light across 6 years of burn marks, nearly 200,000 gone to schemes, to scams, and to plain, poor judgment. Every time, I hoped this would be the lesson. Every time, he sold me on the next different thing. But saving him wasn't saving him. Every rescue delayed the reckoning. I slipped the papers back into their jackets. The drawer shut with a clean, final click. Out on the street, the lamps came on, washing the sidewalk in pale yellow. Tomorrow would bring plenty of fresh problems. Tonight's decision was simple. Sometimes the kindest word in the world is no. I switched off the lamp and went upstairs, leaving the study in the dark. Morning sunlight slid across the kitchen counters as I folded my grocery list into my wallet. Yesterday's argument already felt like a storm that had rolled through, necessary but finished. Coffee cleared my head, a hot shower rinsed away the rest. Today had the small pleasure of errands. I grabbed my reusable bags from the hook, patted my pocket for keys, and headed outside. The air smelled like Ruth Carter's lilacs, blooming heavy next door. Perfect spring morning. Halfway down the brick walk, I stopped dead. Something was wrong with the Honda. It sat low and cocked, like a wounded animal trying to hide it. All 4 tires were flat, the car resting almost on the rims. My stomach dropped. This wasn't time or weather. Each tire had the same small puncture near the sidewall, placed like a signature. I crouched at the front passenger wheel, ran a finger along the rubber, and hit metal, a roofing nail, the same kind I keep in a clear bin over the workbench. I circled the car. 4 nails, 4 tires, 4 neat little wounds made sometime after midnight. The timeline locked together. Last night's blow-up, Jason's exit, his threat about not needing me when the money rolled in. And now this. Not a prank, not bad luck. A message. I called Jason. He answered on the 3rd ring, voice thick with sleep. Dad? What's wrong? It's barely 9. Son, I woke up to 4 punctured tires. Every one of them. Totaled. A long pause. When he spoke again, he sounded properly sympathetic. Dad, that's awful. Probably kids. Spring break brings out the dumb ideas. All 4, Jason. Nails at the exact angle to guarantee destruction. That's not kids. That's a job. Are you another pause accusing me? The hurt in his voice could convince a stranger. But I've heard Jason sell a story about losses, about deals, about promises. Did you see anything when you left? Strange cars. Anyone walking around? I drove straight home. Look, I know we said things, but I would never. This is vandalism. You should call the police. Should I? What did I actually have other than timing and instinct? A wrong accusation could torch what little was left between us. I'll handle it through insurance, I said finally. Thanks for the concern. Dad, wait. I'm sorry about yesterday. We both said things. We'll talk later, son. I need to call roadside. AAA said 45 minutes for a tow. I hung up and stared at the wounded car, feeling 10 years older. Maybe I had it wrong. Maybe random vandals picked my driveway at random. He sounded genuinely shocked. But 40 years in the trades teaches you to see patterns. This one drew the same picture every time. I took the grocery bags back inside. The grocery run would wait. The mechanic who came out confirmed what I already knew. 4 tires punctured on purpose. $800. Back home with a turkey sandwich and yesterday's paper, I tried to lose myself in the sports section instead of listening to that cold suspicion in my gut. The phone rang as I reached for my coffee. Jason's name again. Hey, Dad. How's the day? He was too cheerful, like someone opening curtains in a dark room at noon. Too quick. No mention of the tires, no mention of last night. Eventful, I said. Spent the morning at Bennett Tire Center. Right, the vandalism. That stinks. Anyway, good news. Tomorrow's my birthday and Kelly put something together. I set the sandwich down. Jason turning 40. With everything going on, I'd forgotten. Nothing crazy, he said. Family dinner, 6 o'clock. Lily will be here, a few friends too. It would mean a lot if you came. That took me by surprise. After the argument and the tires, I expected radio silence, not an invitation. That's thoughtful of you, I said carefully. Come on, Dad. We don't agree on money stuff, but we're still family. Lily asked if Grandpa would come. She's excited to see you. Thinking about my granddaughter softened everything. Lily's been the bright spot at every gathering, untouched by the financial chaos. If she wanted me there, how was I supposed to refuse? What should I bring? Just yourself. Kelly has everything handled. Food, decorations, the whole thing. She really went all out this year. That explained the expense. Kelly's all out usually means a tab that would knock you back. But for once, that wasn't my problem. I'll be there. 6 sharp. Perfect. And Dad, thanks for not making a thing of yesterday. I was stressed about work and took it out on you. The apology sounded genuine, and for a second I believed the better version of him. Maybe I was wrong about the tires. Maybe he was trying to fix things. Water under the bridge, son. See you tomorrow. After we hung up, I sat there, cautious but optimistic. Family dinners had been rare since Jason married. Kelly's calendar didn't leave much room for us outside holidays. But a birthday can build a bridge. Lily would be there, probably bursting to tell me about her psych labs and her favorite professor. Maybe Jason would be warmer, pulled along by friends and family. I finished lunch thinking about a gift. Not expensive. Wrong message after Tuesday. Something useful, something thoughtful. A good set of hand tools for his garage projects. Maybe a book on management he might actually open. The afternoon felt peaceful for the first time all week. The party gave me something to look toward. Better than replaying punctured tires and angry words. Maybe this was his olive branch. The timing was suspicious, sure, but birthdays can make people do the right thing. I cleared the plate and sat down with a laptop to look at tool sets. For a few hours, hope felt like a reasonable bet. The next evening, a taxi let me out at Jason's place. I stepped onto the brick walk with a carefully wrapped box under my arm. The air carried barbecue smoke and laughter from the backyard. Through the front windows, I could see figures moving more than just family by a long stretch. Jason opened the door before I could knock, grin wide. Dad, you made it? Come in. The place had changed. Where I remembered modest furniture, fancy pieces had appeared, crystal glasses catching the light of a chandelier I'd never seen. The food through the kitchen doorway looked professionally catered. Happy birthday, son. I handed him the tool set. 40. That number gets heavy fast. Thanks, Dad. It means a lot. His smile faltered, just a beat something unreadable flickered through. Kelly, Dad's here. She floated out of the kitchen in a dress that looked like it cost a mortgage payment. Frank, so good you could come. Let me introduce you around. The living room buzzed. Young professionals I didn't recognize, talking careers and investments with wine glasses in hand. The bar was impressive labels that do not live in Jason's budget. Grandpa! Lily's voice cut to the front of the line. She threw her arms around me, the most honest greeting in the room. I'm so glad you're here. Wouldn't miss your dad's big night, sweetheart. How's school? Finals next week. I'll survive. Want something to drink? Dad got your favorite beer. Jason appeared with an import I recognized from a fancy dinner in Denver. Remember this? You ordered it at that steakhouse downtown. I took it, surprised he'd remembered. Maybe the invite really was in good faith. Maybe the tires were a coincidence. Maybe I'd wanted to see the worst. The night started warm. Jason's friends asked about the home building business, like they wanted to learn something. Kelly kept my glass full every time it emptied. She appeared with a refill and a bright smile. It's quite a spread, I said during dinner, nodding at the trays. Must have cost a fortune. Jason waved it off. Kelly's been saving for months. She wanted 40 to feel special, but the numbers didn't pencil. Catering alone was thousands, never mind the wine, the decorations, the new furniture. Where did this come from when 2 days earlier, he was chasing me for capital? Another wine, Frank? Kelly held up a Cabernet that probably cost more than a week of groceries. It's perfect with the beef. I nodded, a pleasant buzz smoothing edges. The contradictions blurred under the simple pleasure of being with family. Lily sat beside me, sharing stories about her research group, all hand motions and enthusiasm. Jason stood to toast, glass lifted with a little too much theater. To family, to second chances, to the future. We all drank. The wine was too good for our table, and I said so to myself without saying it out loud. As the evening stretched on, I relaxed for the first time since Tuesday. But small things tugged. Jason kept checking his watch. Kelly's smile never reached all the way to her eyes. Every time I looked up, I caught the two of them exchanging looks they didn't want me to see. The third hour came and went without anyone reaching for a coat. I settled into a new leather armchair I didn't remember, another expensive addition. Conversations rose and fell. The wine left me loose and comfortable. My earlier suspicions about the tires, the money seemed smaller and far away. Jason appeared at my elbow with another pour. Dad, come see the upstairs. We redid the master. You'll love it. Now? Shouldn't you be working the room? They're fine without me. Come on. 2 minutes. His insistence rattled me. Before I could answer, Kelly glided up on my other side. Oh yes, Frank. You have to see the new fixtures. We spared no expense. There it was again. No expense spared, from a household that needed me to fund the latest opportunity. I started to stand, and Lily materialized, pale as paper, eyes huge. Grandpa, she whispered, fingers biting into my sleeve, you need to leave, right now. I stared at her. What? Please, just go. Trust me. Something's wrong. Jason stepped closer, smile locked in place. Lily, what are you even saying? Grandpa's about to see the upstairs. No, he isn't. Lily's grip tightened hard enough to bruise. Grandpa, please, go home. The desperation in her voice shaved years off me. In 18 years, I've seen her mad at them and confused by them, but never afraid of them. I think I'll listen to my granddaughter, I said, pushing to my feet. It's getting late. Dad, don't be ridiculous. Jason's cheer cracked a little. We haven't even cut the cake. Where are you going, Frank? Kelly's voice stayed bright, but something sharp crept in. You can't leave before we really celebrate. The synchronized pressure set off an old alarm bell I don't ignore. When two people need you to stay this badly, there's a reason to be somewhere else. I'm a little tired, I said, edging toward the hall. Happens at my age. One more drink, Jason pressed. Something special I've been saving. Another time, son. I moved for the door. He stepped in front of me. Dad, seriously? Lily's just wound up about finals. Lily made a sound that might have been a sob. When I looked, tears were bright at the edges. That decided it. Thank you for a wonderful evening, I said. Clear and steady now. I'll call you tomorrow, but Dad, tomorrow, Jason. I grabbed my jacket and headed for the door. Behind me, their voices dropped to frantic whispers, too low to catch, too urgent to ignore. Cool air hit my face and cleared the last of the fog. I called for a taxi and looked back through the window. Lily stood there, watching. Relief and worry fought for space on her face. She pressed her palm to the glass. I answered with a small nod. Headlights arced around the corner. As the cab pulled away, I fumbled for my phone. The driver glanced at me in the mirror, probably reading a runaway scene into the lines on my face. Lily answered on the first ring. Grandpa, are you okay? Are you safe? The urgency in her voice confirmed what I felt in my bones. Whatever I'd escaped was real. I'm in a taxi, heading home. Lily, what was happening? Why did you warn me? I heard muffled party voices, then a door closed on her end. I heard Mom and Dad yesterday, she whispered. They had a plan, and it involved you, and it was supposed to happen tonight. What kind of plan? Get you drunk. Make you sign documents upstairs. Something about transferring your company to Dad. It hit like a punch. My own son planning to take everything I built across 4 decades. Are you sure? Grandpa, there were lawyers waiting in the guest room. Mom kept checking the time, making sure your glass wasn't empty. Dad kept pushing the upstairs tour. The pieces clicked together, the expensive party, the constant refills, Jason's jittery eyes, Kelly's smile that never got to the eyes, an elaborate trap, and I walked right into the center of it. How much did you hear? Enough to know they built this after your fight Tuesday. Mom said you were being selfish, keeping all that money while Dad needed it for investments. My hand tightened around the phone. Selfish. That landed hard. Mom said once you had enough wine, you'd sign anything. She said older people get confused when they drink. It wasn't just wrong, it was cruel. Lily, listen to me. I need a promise. Okay. Don't tell them you told me. Did they question you about why you said I should go? Dad asked. I told him I said it because the neighborhood gets sketchy late and that I went to my room. They think I don't know anything. Good. Keep it that way. If they try anything else, call me first day or night. I will. But what if you saved everything tonight? I couldn't be prouder of the woman you're becoming. The taxi turned onto Oak. My house came into view. Ruth Carter sat on her porch, same chair, same shawl, like she had every spring evening since I can remember, steady as a clock. I have to go, sweetheart. Thank you for being the one person in this family I can trust completely. I love you, Grandpa. I love you too. And if you need anything, call. As I hung up, one thought rang like a bell. This betrayal wouldn't go unanswered. The taxi rolled away. I stood in my driveway, digging for my keys, with hands that wouldn't keep steady. Home still felt like home, but also like a wall I needed to fortify. Evening, Frank. You're out late. Ruth's voice carried across the lawn. She sat in that wicker chair she's had since forever, a light shawl around her shoulders, against the spring chill. Evening, Ruth. I was at Jason's. I see you got the car squared away. New tires look good. I froze, keys, halfway to the lock. How'd you know about the tires? She rocked a few times and then stood, stepping to the railing so we could talk low without the whole street hearing. I was out here Tuesday evening. You know me and fresh air. And I saw something I wasn't sure I should bring up. A chill went through me that had nothing to do with the temperature. What did you see? You should know what really happened. I stepped toward the fence, heart thumping. Tell me. I saw Jason leaving your place, maybe 9:30. He walked around your car with something in his hand, checked each tire. Then he knelt by each one, did something quick, and stood up, looking around like he hoped no one was watching. The confirmation hit like a hammer. Not random kids, not bad luck. My own son methodically destroying my car, you're certain? Frank, I've known that boy since he was little. It was Jason. and it was right after I heard raised voices. Sound carries on still nights. I wasn't eavesdropping. She'd seen the argument, the exit, the retaliation. The whole sequence, not desperation, malice. He didn't see me. I keep the porch light off easier to see the stars. Thank you for telling me. I wasn't sure if I should. Family is delicate. I hate to meddle, but when I saw you with brand new tires, I figured you needed the truth. First Lily's warning about the lawyers upstairs. Now the tires, confirmed by the neighbor who's watched my family grow up. My son had launched a campaign, property damage, then an attempt to steal my life's work, with signatures and wine. This wasn't panic. It was a plan. Let's keep this between us for now, I said evenly, trying to tuck away the anger. Of course, but that boy needs to learn what respect looks like. You built something. Don't let anyone blood or not tear it down out of spite. Ruth's words had the weight of decades behind them. She'd watched him go from promise to problem. Hard to ignore that kind of witness. Thank you for being a good neighbor, Ruth. I should turn in. It's been a long one. Take care of yourself, Frank. And if you ever need me to put in writing what I saw, I will. I nodded, grateful for the spine in her voice, and went inside. I turned on every light and stood in the living room, looking at 4 decades of honest work and careful decisions, everything Jason tried to take. Tonight with lawyers and manipulation, already with nails and rage. The pattern squeeze the money, damage the property, then spring a legal trap, spelled out a campaign, not a mistake. He'd declared war. Time to answer. Dawn came flat and gray, matching the steady resolve that settled in my chest. Sleep came in little slices, while I listed his betrayals and mapped his soft spots. At 7 sharp, I sat at the kitchen table with coffee and a yellow legal pad. 40 years of business got organized into a plan. Emotion cooled into clarity. Jason wanted to play hardball with the man who taught him the basics. Back in the study, I opened the filing cabinet with his investment history. Every folder a pattern of poor judgment. Today, those patterns would become evidence. The Scottsdale condos, the crypto rigs, the food truck with the embezzler, every piece backed by contracts, bank records, emails. This wasn't about reliving old disasters. This was about using the truth. Jason made 3 mistakes. First, he underestimated my network. Second, he forgot I keep everything. Third, he assumed family would keep me from following through. Wrong on all 3. I laid the papers out in order. $75,000 gone on Scottsdale when the developer disappeared. $50,000 to Ghost Hardware. $30,000 into a food truck that blew up when his partner with a record took the cash and walked. Others had been dragged into those messes because they trusted my son, and because my name still carried weight around town. Ben Miller lost $25,000 on the condos. Danny Ruiz put $35,000 into the miners. Emily Price put $20,000 into the truck. They all bled money because they trusted him. More important, they weren't nobodies. Ben sat on the Riverton Chamber Board. Danny chaired the local angel group. Emily worked in financial services. Transparency is her religion. Perfect channels. I pulled up my contact list and started compiling addresses. Anonymous tips have rules. Clean presentation, straight documents, no editorializing. 40 years in this business taught me that reputations collapse much faster under fact than under anger. Phase 1. Let the people he burned compare notes. Once they do, the picture draws itself. Phase 2. Kelly's professional world. Someone that calculated doesn't float without something under her. Find the weak points and tell the truth there too. Phase 3. Push legal and financial consequences hard enough that future schemes get harder to pull. The beauty is, I don't have to lie. The paper trail is the story. People will draw the same conclusions I did. I set up a fresh anonymous email account in case I needed it, then called a courier. Timing matters. Friday afternoon delivery means a weekend of reading and calls, and a Monday morning full of decisions. The phone rang. Jason again. I let it buzz. Whatever pitch he had could wait. I had tasks. By 1:30, the study looked like a small war room. Documents lined up by date, grouped by investor and loss. 3 thick envelopes sat ready, each one stuffed with enough facts to end what remained of Jason's credibility. Ben Miller's packet covered his $25,000 loss, original agreements, transfer records, emails where Jason knew the developer was wobbling but kept taking money. Danny Ruiz's packet detailed $35,000 in wires for miners that never existed, plus the message where Jason admitted the supplier looked iffy but said the returns were too good to pass up. Emily Price's packet outlined her $20,000 complete, with the clause requiring background checks that Jason ignored when he signed with a man convicted of embezzlement. Each envelope had a 1-page cover. Information regarding Jason Myers' business practices. Please review the attached documents and decide for yourself. No accusations, no color commentary, just dates, amounts, and signatures. I called Premier Courier, 3 same-day deliveries, anonymous pickup, cash payment. No problem, the dispatcher said. They don't make a habit of asking why. They came at 2:30, and the envelopes left my house like small, quiet missiles. By dinner, 3 very connected people would be reading. Ben helped steer the chamber. Danny influenced what got funded around here. Emily's firm advised half the small business owners in Riverton. Jason chose the wrong people to burn and the wrong father to cross. The phone rang again. 3rd time since last night. This time I answered. Dad, thank God. I've been trying to reach you since the party. I was busy. Why'd you listen to Lily and go? Did she tell you something? I was tired. Long week. Listen, come back over. Kelly worked like crazy. She was really disappointed when you took off. The lie was smooth, no mention of lawyers upstairs, no mention of documents. The party was lovely, I said evenly. Thank Kelly for her hospitality. Of course. Hey, maybe lunch next week? I've been thinking about Tuesday. I might have some new investment ideas that would solve, your concerns. More bait, same hook. Let me check my calendar. I'll call you back. Sure, Dad. Love you. Goodbye, Jason. I checked the clock. 3:15. The packages had been moving 45 minutes. By 6, all 3 would be received. Unknown number flashed a minute later. I let it go. Might have been Ben. Might have been a courier. Either way, the facts could speak without me. Let people read. Let them call each other. By Monday morning, this town would be humming with one story. A documented pattern, not a rumor. Phase 1 was in motion. Monday morning proved it worked. 6 calls by 8 a.m. SOC and all business contacts with careful voices asking careful questions about recent information regarding Jason Myers. Word was moving exactly the way I intended. Ben called Danny Sunday night to compare. Danny looped in Emily to verify. By Monday, 3 heavy hitters were quietly warning their networks. Phase 1 successful. Time for Phase 2. New coffee, new folder. Kelly Myers, professional standing. If Jason was the desperate gambler, Kelly was the architect of the birthday trap. She deserved consequences, too. Kelly worked as a senior client manager at Summit Wealth Advisors. High net worth accounts, jobs that run entirely on trust and judgment. Perfect pressure point. I made a few discreet calls. Builders have legitimate reasons to talk to finance firms. No one blinks when we ask who's good with money and who isn't. A picture started to form. Kelly was often seen at the Hilton lobby bar on weekday afternoons with the same sharply dressed man. Long conversations over expensive wine. During hours, she should be serving clients. The man wore a ring. Word was he was an executive out of Seattle who flew in often and didn't mind being seen. Then, there were her purchases. Despite Jason's story about money trouble, she was buying designer clothes and jewelry and small luxuries that didn't fit the budget they complained about to me. Either he lied about their finances, or she had streams he didn't know about. Didn't matter which. Both told the same story at work. Poor judgment around money. I drafted a professional ethics complaint to Summit Wealth's HR. It laid out the conflict between Kelly's duty to safeguard client assets and her role in a plan to strip an elderly family member's business by getting him intoxicated and sliding papers under a pen. A person trusted to protect wealth had targeted an older relative's life's work as fair game for family enrichment. I included what I could support: photos of the scale of the party, invoices for catering and bar service I'd requested as souvenir paperwork, and notes that any sudden spending spree might indicate conflicts she wasn't disclosing. The anonymous packet went out Monday afternoon via courier, along with a polite suggestion that HR review recent client files for advice colored by personal gain. By Tuesday, Summit Wealth would be taking a hard look. The phone rang as I sealed the envelope. Unknown number. I let it go and wrote down the time. Jason was calling from other phones now. That kind of scrambling usually means fear. Good. Fear forces mistakes. Mistakes make room for the truth. Mid-afternoon Tuesday, I heard what I expected: car doors too loud, shoes too fast on the brick walk. They came together, united by panic. The pounding on the door announced their mood before their faces did. Jason and Kelly stood flushed and wild-eyed. His swagger was gone. He looked cornered. Her composure was cracked, anger bright through the polish. "We need to talk," Jason said, pushing past me before I could answer. "Now." "We know what you've been doing, Frank," Kelly said, sweeping in after him. I shut the door behind them and gestured to the couch. "I've been expecting you." "Sit. Don't play innocent," Jason snapped, refusing the couch. "You torched my business relationships with anonymous letters. Ben and Danny and Emily all got the same packet about investments from years ago. Things you were involved in." Kelly's voice stayed colder. "My employer received an ethics complaint. HR is investigating every client interaction I've had for the past quarter. Someone sent details about our family finances. I settled into my leather chair, the same spot where this started a week ago. What they received were facts. Investors have a right to patterns. HR has a right to questions." "Facts?" Jason's voice climbed a step. "You sabotaged me. I passed along truth. If truth hurts your name, that's on the actions, not the messenger." Kelly leaned forward. "You're destroying my career over a family argument." "Let's talk about what really happened," I said, lifting a folder I'd set aside days ago. "You planned to take 40 years of my work with a trap built on wine and paperwork." I opened the folder and slid out a few pages. Lily told me about the lawyers waiting upstairs. Ruth Carter watched Jason puncture my tires after Tuesday's argument. This wasn't panic. It was premeditated. Color drained from both faces. "Tuesday's fight," I said, counting off on my fingers. "Wednesday morning, the car vandalized. Thursday night, the party engineered to get me to sign papers. It's not a disagreement. It's a campaign." Jason sagged. "Dad, you don't understand the pressure." "I understand it fine. You decided taking from your father beat doing the work yourself. And Kelly used what she knows about money and people to build a scheme around an older relative's confusion. That's not family. That's fraud." "We're still family," Kelly said, but it sounded like a line from someone else's play. "You stopped being family when you set a trap," I said. "Every bit of fallout you're feeling now is a consequence you earned." Jason dropped onto the couch, finally seeing the whole board. Kelly stayed rigid, calculating exits that weren't there. "Investors won't touch you again, Jason. You're finished in this town. Kelly, an ethics investigation can end a career. That isn't revenge. It's gravity." "What about Lily?" she asked, all the steel gone from her voice. "Lily is fine. Unlike her parents, she chose to protect, not exploit." I stood, the sign that the meeting was over. "You declared war with lies and papers." I answered with the truth. Accountability's not spite. They left without another word, moving like people who had just understood that the ground under their feet was gone. I stood on the porch and watched their taillights until they turned off Oak. The phone rang as the red dots disappeared. Lily. "Hey, sweetheart. Grandpa, are you okay?" "Mom and Dad said something about an investigation. I'm fine. The truth did what it always does. Your future is safe." "I love you, Grandpa. I love you too." 40 years of honest work stayed right where it belonged. If this story hit home, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. To listen to the next story, click the box on the left. Thanks for watching.